What is up, gamers? Staxwell's back at it again today with another video. I wanted to show you guys my Dromai deck. This is the deck that I was able to win my Pro Quest with. I'll be at the Pro Tour, and I was able to get some LL points for Dromai. I think I have a very different approach to this deck. I think it's worth doing a deck profile on. I'm not just gonna show you guys the average run-of-the-mill Dromai deck here. I think it is very interesting, and I didn't expect any Lexis, so I didn't build my deck for Lexi at all, with no consideration, no respect for that hero, because my local players just don't play it. Turns out there was 3 Lexis, and I played against it 4 times. So, not exactly how I thought it would play out, but it's interesting because this deck is built without Lexi in mind. It's going to be very relevant now that Lexi is actually gone, and there's actually going to be no Lexis. Oh, so yeah, let's just jump into it. Like I said, I played Dromai, and then my equipment suite is already where it gets a little bit weird because I play Provenance and Dominion, and a lot of people just do this in, like, you know, they'll be like, oh, well, Dominion, you need the block against Lexi, or you need the block against Bravo, so you need the Dominion, or you need the Provenance, and that's where I'll play Provenance, and everything else I'll play Dominion or whatever. I had a different approach to it. My approach was, if I'm going first, then I want Provenance and I want Time Skippers, and this is just how I want to play. I want to make a bunch of Ash, set up a 5-card hand, have the additional block. Like, for the most part, that's what I want to do. Like, while it's true, like against Azalea, I would just play this every time. You know, for the most part, this was my plan. And then if I was going second, Crown of Dominion and Seekers just makes more sense to me. So yeah, this was more based on whether I'm going first or if I'm going second than it was the matchup, but there was like some matchup consideration, right? Against Bravo, against Azalea, I probably would play this all the time, but yeah, first or second is where I decided to play these, and I even like did this decision into like Lexi and things like that, and this pattern of play actually worked out insanely well. I actually do kind of have a regret on this lineup. I wish this was Skullcap, awkwardly enough. I wish this was Skullcap. Provenance did just fine, but I think Skullcap would have done a little better. I'm playing Ghostly Touch, and the reason for this is I'm already playing Time Skippers. So against like a Bravo, I'll go Time Skippers Crown, I'll block with my Crown, just kind of play the game, stall it out, and at the end, I have that Time Skippers Ghostly Touch. You know, I could Time Skippers play out Passing Mirage, make a Ghostly Touch, and attack while it doesn't have Phantasm at some point in the game. You know, I'm already playing Time Skippers, so it makes sense to include that to me. I had the Null Rune, just AB1. You know, I didn't quite want to be caught with my pants down turn 0. I wanted to have some kind of way to AB, make Ash, things like that. But for the most part, I was playing Wave of Reality. Yeah, this just went in against Wizards. I guess it also would go in against something like a Viserai or a Vincent, but I didn't play against any of that. Wave of Reality was the one I played most of the time. This is really, really good against Lexi to cover up breakpoints and things like that. But there just isn't a lot of good glove options, so this was just 2 life for me, and against Lexi it was more than that. But even if Lexi's gone, I don't know what else you would play in the hand slot other than this. I like it. Furnace, always play Furnace, and then obviously I'm always playing this. So I want to jump into like the main board, like the things I'm almost never siding out, and there's a emphasis on almost because, like, you know, I have Fate Foreseen in here. You know, obviously I'm not playing Fate Foreseen against Kano, but against 99% of the decks I am. So we'll go over the dragons real quick. Nothing to talk about with these. This is just kind of what makes Dromai Dromai. If you're not playing these, then why are you playing Dromai? Uvia, I always play it because it has 6 defense. It's really hard to get over. Most of the time it takes 2 cards to kill it. Can't say the same for all these other dragons, but man, are these ones better. But yeah, Uvia, always in there. Love that card. Ash Wings are broken against most every deck, so, you know, making more of them is always good. Again, Ash Wings are broken versus most every deck. This makes people concede. You guys already know this, probably why you're playing the deck. Only 2 burn them all, that's all you need. You pitch 1 early. You can either block or play with the second one, and then when that one you pitch comes back up second cycle, you're gonna get, like, you know, 8 or 9 pings off of it, so it's a 1-card 9 or 1-card 8, something like that. Very powerful stuff. Yeah, you don't need 3 because you only have so many reds to banish, I guess, and it's really bad early game. You kind of have to pitch it early. You need like a graveyard for it to get its value. 3 Billowing Mirage. I like Aether Ash Wings. The more I can make, the better. And then this is also just a starter, has Go Again, things like that. 3 Miraging Metamorph and 3 E-Strike. I'm a big fan of a 2-card 7. I don't know if you guys could tell. But block 6, swing 7 is how I like to play Flesh and Blood. And these cards all block 3 as well. You know, I don't think there's a reason to cut any of these cards. They're just above rate in every way. I just don't quite see the argument. And it also helps with like, not bad matchups, but like popper matchups and stuff too. You want E-Strike, they can't pop it. You're gonna be able to push some damage. Against things like Ninja, you're like blocking with your whole hand most of the time. So if you're able to keep a card, you get Arsenal, block with your whole hand. If you're able to keep a card, well, now you're throwing 7, you know? So not bad at all. Command and Conquer is always in there. You know, you're able to make Furnace plays and make this happen really, really consistently. CNC is just a great card. Even without Lexi in the game, it's just a great card. Rabble, same thing, just one of the best cards. Not much to say there. Sync, Fate, Sigil, this lets me prolong the game. The longer you can prolong it, honestly, the better. You're gonna be running your opponent out of threats. And this was the mistake I was making with Dromai when I first picked her up, is I just wasn't blocking enough. I was just taking too much damage to play dragons. But if you block enough, at some point, your opponent's like not gonna have a gas hand. And that's when you want to start playing dragons. And that just wasn't like a concept I fully grasped when I first started playing the deck. And I think it's a mistake I see a lot of newer Dromai players making, is that they're just prioritizing playing their dragons too much. It's not about that, just block. You'll get a chance to play your dragons, don't worry about it. Your whole deck is red, you're pitching reds, you'll have dragons 2nd, 3rd, 4th cycle. You ain't running out of dragons, so there's no rush to play them. I cited the Tumultai package. You know, it's not good against every deck. You don't want to just be like throwing this into like a Bravo and destroying their... Well, I guess that's a bad example because it's actually really good into Bravo. I don't know. It's not good against every deck, I guess. Or against a Dorinthia, there you go. You don't want to just throw this into a Dorinthia and destroy their courage. It's pretty below rate if you're doing something like that. So I did think about every matchup. I'm like, what do I actually want to destroy with Tumultai? Will it be worth destroying? Things like that. If I play against Bravo, I actually want to destroy their Arcane Barrier, so that way I could finish them off with Burn Them All, as will I, things like that. Unpreventable damage, pretty strong, be able to close the game out. Yeah, so it wasn't every game I played Tumultai. Yeah, this is like the side deck now. I don't know if you guys caught that transition. Passing Mirage, against every popper matchup, I'll bring it in and play it. Again, with that Time Skippers, it's really good. This is the sauce too. 3 Oasis, 3 Sand Cover. I don't know who convinced everyone to get off these cards. These cards are just like so broken. Just think about, this isn't like a, oh, this isn't like an anti-Kano card. No, this is like an anti-Kano card, an anti-Icelander card, an anti-Azalea card. I side all this in against Bravo every time. This is really good against Dorinthia. This is really good against Uzuri. Like, oh, so that's what, 7 decks just off the top of the head right now that I think it's good against. I would play these against, I would play just these against Lexi, but again, I wasn't even expecting Lexi, so I would probably side deck something else if I had a choice. But this covers like 10 matchups, you know? It's insanity how much it covers. So I don't know why you wouldn't be maxing out on this stuff. It just shores up so many matchups. Like if you play against Azalea and you have this, how are they winning? How are they beating you? I'm so curious. If you play against Icelander, how are they beating you? Kano, how are they beating you? This just shores up too many matchups not to play. I'm absolutely in love with it. I would play 4 of each if I could, but I can't, so. I did trim down to 2 Remembrance. I actually hate Remembrance, but it is kind of necessary for like Bravo and things like that. I actually didn't side it all weekend because I didn't play against a Bravo, but that's the only matchup I could think of off the top of my head that I would actually side it in against. It's the only thing I'm trying to fatigue. Maybe I would side it in against like a Boost Dash or something. Probably not, honestly. Themai, I don't bring this in every time. If its effect isn't relevant, I can't pay 2 for a dragon that has like Miragai stats, you know what I mean? It just doesn't feel good at all to me. But even if there's decks that like play a bunch of D-reacts or anything like that, I'll bring it in just to like shut down their D-reacts. So if I could get any kind of application, it doesn't have to be a wizard for me, I don't want to bring this in. Anything that plays, yeah, again, a lot of D-reacts. Or wants to be doing things on my turn, you know, I'll bring it in the Dromai Mirror, things like that. But yeah, not every matchup. I don't bring it in every matchup. Dominia, I was only bringing this in if I had like kind of some space to play against like a ninja or something where I'm blocking with 3 or 4 cards every turn. I didn't want to bring in a card that required at least 3 cards for me to be playing with it. Necria, I only played 2 of it. Because if I was playing Tome, I didn't need Necria. I had so much Ash throughout the game that getting more Ash wasn't like a huge problem. So I didn't always play Necria and I didn't always play Tome. And oftentimes when I was playing Necria, I wasn't playing Tome and vice versa. So yeah, that's the deck. I had 1 loss in Swiss, and that was to top 8 Worlds competitor Wesley Dong. Shout out to Wesley. He cooked me in in Swiss with Lexi, and then I was able to beat the Lexi the other 3 times. That was my one and only loss, and that one kind of hurt. It was a close game, but he had just a huge endless arrow turn.
Special shout out to StompingGroundsTCG.com for sponsoring the channel. This is a sponsored post. I wouldn't bring you guys just some kind of Raid Shadow Legends type ad here. I would only really run it if I thought it was a good deal, if I thought it was helping people out. And I do very much think that that's the case here. So we have a promo code. It's promo code Staxwell. Any Flesh and Blood products that you purchase here, this is only going to apply to Flesh and Blood, not Magic or anything like that. Just Flesh and Blood. So whatever cash you use to buy the Flesh and Blood products, you will be getting a gift card emailed to you within the business day, equal to 20% of whatever amount you use to buy the Flesh and Blood cards, right? If you spent $100, 20% of that, you'd be getting a $20 gift card emailed to you. It doesn't have to be in increments of 100 or anything like that. I'm just using that as an example. This only applies to the Flesh and Blood stuff, but I do encourage you guys to check out some of the other stuff. Like if we go to the card sleeves here, $8 for the Dragon Shields. We've all been to locals. We know that LGS like to charge $12, $13 for these sleeves. So go ahead, stock up on some sleeves while you're at it. But you guys are really only going... I mean, that's going to help me, help the channel, but you guys are really only getting the benefits with the Flesh and Blood cards. So let's just run through it real quick. Say you wanted... you know, around the table, you and the boys wanted to grab a few of these, so you wanted to add 4 of those to your cart. I already had 4 in here for my example, but that would cost you $240. If we pull up the calc, 20% of that is $48. So again, within the business day, you would be getting that $48 gift card emailed to you, so long as you type in promo code Staxwell, and you would do that here, and then you would get it to this contact email. So make sure that contact email is accurate and that promo code is there with a little tag. If you see this, it's working. If you type it in wrong or something like that, it won't pop up here. It's just not gonna work. So as long as it's down here, capitals, not capitals, I don't actually think it matters. But as long as it looks like this, you're good. You'll get that gift card emailed to you. Alternatively, instead of doing all of this, you could just go to TCG Player, buy the exact same product for the exact same price, and get no additional benefit to it. So this is very clearly a win for not only you guys, but for the channel as well. And you know, huge shout out to Stomping Grounds. This is my local LGS. I know the one last shout out is for my boy Gammy TCG, Vegas local of mine. I just want to give him a special shout out, and I'm sure he knows why. If you guys haven't heard of him or checked out his YouTube, I highly recommend you go check him out. He's got some good stuff. As you can see, I've watched most of his videos here because I genuinely like what he has to say. So go ahead, give him a watch, give him a subscribe, and don't forget to give me a subscribe too while you're here. You're already here. Like, comment, rate, subscribe, help me out. Later, gamers.